And in Proverbs chapter 24, Solomon is telling us that wisdom, man, builds a house. By understanding, it is established. He's speaking not just literally about building a house like you know how to handle a square and work a saw, but he's talking about your family. He's talking about generational success, generational spiritual growth in your family, passing down wisdom and knowledge. He says, by knowledge, the rooms are filled with all the precious and pleasant riches. That when you are wise, you have understanding, you have knowledge. Your kids are more likely to be wise and have understanding and have knowledge. And not just your kids, but your grandkids, that we pass down knowledge is an inheritance to the next generation. Verse 17, he tells us not to rejoice when your enemy falls, not to let your heart be glad when they stumble. And I think we could all benefit from this, whether it's a political win or political loss. A team loses or a team wins. He's saying, listen, don't go overboard. Don't rejoice too much when your enemy falls, because you could be next. The same trial that's come to your neighbor's house can come to yours. So stay on your guard and be alert. Verse 30, he says, I passed by the field of the sluggard. And as we walk into this, we're going to look at several verses back to back. And you probably have already noticed, if you've been following us, that at this point in Proverbs, he's linking more verses together than what he was doing in chapters 9 through 18. Verse 30, he says, I passed by the field of the sluggard, by the vineyard of a man lacking sense. So he's comparing a sluggard to someone who lacks sense, someone who's lazy. It says, and behold, what was going on? Well, it was overgrown with thorns. The ground was covered with nettles, thorns, and its stone wall was broken down. And so he's saying, hey, this guy's not taking care of his stuff. He's not taking care of what he needs to. And then he said, I saw and I considered it, and I looked and I received instruction. He was learning from this. He made observations, and those observations he was learning. And this is what he's learned. This is what Solomon's learned. And this is good stuff. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest. And what? Poverty will come over you like a robber, and want like an armed man. That before you know it, if you just keep turning over, keep hitting that snooze button, you're not taking care of your home, you're not doing your work at work, you're not putting the time in to have a successful marriage, you're not putting the time in to raise your kids, a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come on you like a robber, like an armed man. And you know one thing about a robber and an armed man, they always impact those that don't want to be impacted by them, right? I mean, it's going to come when you don't want it, and it's going to come when you least expect it. And that poverty is going to impact your life and the life of your kids. So he says, be diligent over and over again in the Proverbs. As believers, we should be diligent.